We're back for another episode. Episode what? I ain't scared you, did it? It came out blasting, didn't it? We're back for another episode 110, which is the final episode for season 11. For us, we usually do 10 episodes within one season. So, episode 110, Beyond Waiting It Out, Proactive Grief. We're going to talk about grief on today. And then, of course, I'm joined by my co-host. So I am Kervin Searles, a counselor at Gravity Counseling Group. And to my right, I have...
Hi, I'm Shrika Anderson. I'm also a counselor at Gravity Counseling Group. And
I'm Tinisha Pender. I'm not a counselor at Gravity.
That's what I'm talking about. This episode, I'm not the only one.
But I am a licensed professional counselor at Common Ground Therapeutic and Coaching Services.
Terance Dawkins, licensed clinical social worker.
Also in North Carolina as well, right?
North Carolina, South Carolina.
Okay, all right. Represent.
Yeah.
Oh, same. North Carolina, South
See,
Carolina.
you see?
Okay.
And Georgia. Okay.
Oh,
Georgia.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Working on Pennsylvania.
What?
Okay. So if you in Georgia, if you're in North Carolina, and if you're in Georgia or North Carolina, then you can reach out to Terance. You can reach out to Tinisha. You cannot reach out to me.
Hey, Georgia, Pennsylvania, big boy.
All right. So today in this episode, we're going to talk about grief, and just kind of being proactive, not waiting it out, not just letting it happen to you. But before we get all the way into the episode, we have this segment that we call, and y'all should know this if you've been following us for the season. We have the this segment called "The People Want to Know."
Yep.
Somehow Terance get connected with the people, and they send him in questions and want to know this and want to know that, and he presents it to us, and then we speak on it. So what we got for today?
Well, the people want to know, when you experience a major catastrophic loss, what is your immediate defaulting coping mechanism? Do you actively sit with the raw pain, or do you try to stay on autopilot to outrun it? So, and when you experience a major or a catastrophic loss, what is your immediate default coping mechanism? Sit with it or be on autopilot? What you think?
My coping mechanism is staying busy. Just staying busy, moving. Has been in the past is staying busy, moving, and just trying to remain, to some degree, distracted from, I guess, sitting with it. You know, in the past, I haven't wanted to do that. And it's been difficult for me just to sit with it, even as a therapist, and knowing that I need to. So.
well, I'll say for me, I typically sat in it. But then when it got too heavy, I immediately go to autopilot. Like, how can I just keep going? How can I keep moving to not go back to sitting in it? Horrible practice, but steadily working on it.
Tanisha?
Well, I think I have been the both of you, and currently am the both of you. Most times, I guess since I've been in the field and I've recognized the not so good coping mechanism of autopilot or moving past it or trying to ignore it or keep it in. I've learned that it's going to always come out in some kind of way. So sitting with it now is definitely my default, so I won't have to face it later. So I won't have to grieve or have an emotional dysregulation in other spaces that aren't necessarily appropriate. So I do give myself space to sit in whatever I'm feeling in certain moments.
Well, I guess it depends for me. I've used distraction before. I try to communicate better now. Do I mess up sometimes, as I mentioned in a previous episode? Yep, sure do. I think we all do at times. But I think I'm more aware of how I'm feeling when I'm experiencing some type of loss or difficult emotion. I have a person, or I have a couple people where I do feel safe in communicating that at times, and I think that's where one of the main important things is having a good support system, whether that's just one individual or multiple, having a good support system to help you through those difficult times, so you can not just sit with it by yourself, but sit with it and have that support. But at times I do be on autopilot as well.
And sometimes we don't, we have to be on autopilot because we have so much to do. We have to raise the kids. We have businesses to run. We have all these things to do. And sometimes we don't have the time to just sit and mourn or grieve or, have these, emotional moments. But you got to give yourself space. You have to give yourself time. I mean, y'all know, as therapists, you have to find a way, find a space to just process whatever you're dealing with. Even if you don't have time in that moment, just make sure you don't ignore it, so it won't manifest itself in other spaces, in other places that's not appropriate. So that's how I try to navigate those types of situations.
All right, Shrika, what's the QD of the hour?
All right, well, the QD of the hour is recent neuroimaging studies reveal that grief activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. So research published in the Journal of Neuroimaging demonstrates that the brain's pain centers, the anterior cingulate cortex and insula, show heightened activity during acute grief. It pretty much explains why we often describe heartbreak as physically painful. It also reveals that suppressing grief doesn't make it disappear. It heavily manifests physically, with up to 80% of individuals facing severe long-term sleep disruptions and somatic pain when they avoid processing. That hit home.
Yeah. I don't know what the time context is right here, but whenever y'all listen to our podcast, I want you to at least be able to go away with one valuable thing. And if this QD hour ain't it, I don't know what it is. What it is.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty darn good. I mean, but before we get into it, I want to take the time, Tinisha, for you to kind of like give us a little bit more about you. Now, so we've been doing this podcast since 2021, I think it was. We had 110 episodes. I cannot remember what season Terance came on. I started the podcast and then I stepped away from and just got behind the scene. Terance came on, and then Shrika just now joining us onto the podcast. But in doing this, I'm putting out information all the time, right? And I'm putting little clips on there. And just recently, I had somebody comment on it. What makes this person qualified to speak on this particular topic? And you would think it's a mental health podcast. We got therapists on here that would make us qualified. But in this particular one, it was an episode that we did on ADHD. And the person we had talking, that was their specialty. So what makes you qualified to speak on grief? And I know you. Certainly know you're qualified. But just to speak to that, like if somebody was like, why they got her on here?
So I am a licensed therapist. I've been in the counseling field since 2018. I've been licensed since 2020. On a personal level, what makes me qualified to speak on grief? I have experienced some loss. Of course, we all have. But to be on the other end of support and watching someone else grieve, and not really just knowing what to do, what to say in certain moments, I've learned through even just that experience that grief shows up so different. Grief shows up and it affects so many different parts of a person, and sometimes in the support role, because we don't know what to say, we say the wrong things.
Or anything.
Or anything, right? And so, again, on a personal level, I have a friend who, before I became a mental health counselor, I was a juvenile probation officer, which I love my job. I love that job, but I wanted to do something different, and we'll get there. I had a friend who lost a son suddenly, and I got the call, and I went to my supervisor, and I said, I gotta go. And so I left, went, and she was completely broken. But she was broken, but she didn't have the time to really cry or do the things or get the house together, get the house in order or anything like that, because she had to get to her son. He was 5 to 6 hours away. And so in that moment, the only thing I knew to do was to be there. Not say anything, not try to fix it, not try to pat her on the back, not try to hug on her, not try to do any of that, but just to be present and to do the things that she couldn't do. I cleaned the house, washed the dishes, swept the floor, and was just present in that way. Again, not trying to console her or anything like that. She didn't need that in that moment. So that kind of started, it kind of got me thinking, because there were people around that were trying to fix it and trying to console her. And, you know, the more I saw them try to play those roles and try to fix it, the more aggravated she got. And so I learned then, even though I don't know what she's experiencing in this moment, but sometimes we have to read the room and be what they ask us to be and not what we think they need in certain moments. So that kind of started my interest in like just the whole grief experience. And then I moved into the mental health field. I have a friend who also experienced not necessarily a loss of her child, but a cousin. And she explained that she heard a mourn, a wail that she'd never heard before. And because she's in the field, she's like, sis, we got to do something. And so what we started doing was opening up my office space, the conference room, for a grief support group. And we've been holding this space since, I always get the dates mixed up, since 2022, I believe. And then it just kind of transitioned into a nonprofit where we started to go into churches and different community spaces to teach grief education and how churches and other community supporters can show up for people in those moments, learning what not to say, learning that, you know, God is good, but a therapist is good as well. Those things work hand in hand. So yeah, that's kind of how we got started and kind of where we've continued to go since then.
Do you feel like having that experience or experiences with grief has made you better as a counselor?
Absolutely.
As a grief counselor?
Absolutely. Just hearing the stories from people who actually experienced those losses. And they're not just like, you know, I lost my grandma who had cancer for 27 years or whatever. Mm-hmm. These are sudden losses. These are the losses of children. Suddenly, gun violence, sudden cardiac arrest, opioid overdose, fentanyl overdoses. So these are like sudden deaths, and the aggravation that they feel from the people around them that they feel should be supporting them, that helps me to not only understand them, but also just learn what they need so I can teach others. around them, and teach their support how to support them. Because again, we are fixers. Like, humans are natural fixers. We want to fix everything because everybody else, those emotions, the person you're supporting, that their emotion makes you uncomfortable. So you want to be as comfortable as you can, which means I got to fix this. And there's no way you can fix a broken heart.
Yeah.
Like, you can't. Us as humans, we don't have the power to fix a broken heart. We can be present and support, that healing journey, but we can't personally fix that broken heart.
So, Kervin asked, what made you qualified? So I'm going to tell you what I like about your answer. So, you could have said, oh, what makes me qualified? I got this degree. I got this certification. Whatever. You could have started listing credentials. You could have. Because we all have, as mental health therapists, credentials. We all have maybe different, specializations, certificates, whatever. But and I read this book. This book is by Simon Sinek. I mentioned it before. It says start with why. So that's the book. It's a great book. I recommend everybody read it. But you started with why you got into it, and then the experiences you've had, which then led to the creation of different nonprofits or programs, and that's what's making you qualified, right? So it wasn't just my credentials, it was my why behind why I do it. That's what made me qualified, and I love that response.
Yeah, and of course, I do the studies and all that stuff, research, all that stuff, but research can't beat experience. That's just what I feel, because everybody's experience is different, and research only touches like a small portion of things, and a lot of times, research ain't
what it's
us, right? Like you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, depending on where it's coming from, the people that they've selected don't always either look the same or come from the same cultural background or, quite frankly, had the same experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So research is good.
Yes.
And it's good to me because it's a foundation, it's a starting point. But like you say, nothing beats personal experience. Nothing beats your direct interactions with said problem, whatever that may be. Can you were saying you had kind of got into it. Can you take us on your journey real quick? Like, you said you was a probation officer, then you got into this after this happens. Kind of take us on your journey real quickly from, I guess, maybe undergrad or early 20s to now.
So, I started school. I started my undergrad program. Well, I went to tech school, but I started my undergrad program, and I had already had 2 children. And I started those programs because I knew that what I was doing before then was not the direction that God had for me. It just was not His plan at all. I come from a Christian background. Both my parents are ministers. Been in church all my life. But somewhere I didn't want that life. I wanted to do other stuff. I wanted to, be ride or die, and I wanted to
read in between the lines.
Yeah.
Read in between the lines.
I wanted to do those things, and it just didn't connect well with my spirit. As much as I tried to be in those spaces, it just didn't work out. It was a cluster, It was bad. So I knew that I did not want my girls to do that. Like, I didn't want them to experience any of that. I didn't want them to see me in that light. So I went back to what I knew, my foundation, which was God, essentially. And so kind of followed that path, got my undergrad in criminal justice, did an internship at the Department of Juvenile Justice, and got into juvenile probation. I was intake at first, and I got to have, deep and intimate conversations with the children and families and things like that.
So
before that, I was a direct care counselor at a group home in Anderson, and so love that job too. Kids are bad, whatever. They come from broken homes. Those are what they call emotionally disabled children. I mean, you have DSS children, sexual trauma, abuse, neglect, all that. I like to say I enjoy the DJJ kids more than the DSS kids, because the DSS kids came with not only behaviors but mental illness, and experienced a lot of things with that. But then I got into juvenile probation, and the one thing that really bothered me about the job was, I love what I did, but when it came to court, and especially the children that look like us, it almost felt like no one was willing to see the why they, robbed the store, why they, acting out in school, why they aren't going to school. Like, nobody really, and I'm not just us, just marginalized children in general. Nobody wanted to see the why. I got to see the why because I had relationships with the parents. I had relationships with the grandparents or the guardians. And the why was usually either underlying mental health issues, or they weren't eating. Those basic needs, like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like those basic needs weren't being met. And so I'm like, I ain't really just feeling sending these children to jail. So let me pivot. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to stay. I'm going to do my job, whatever. Go to school. And that's how I got into the mental health field.
And with the intake part, you was essentially honing skills you were going to use in therapy, because you gathering that information.
Yeah. Some of the stories, you guys probably know. Some of the stories are just wild. Like I said, not really just sending this kid to jail, or continuing to, aid the
school to prison pipeline or whatever.
I'm not really just feeling it, so let me figure.
School to prison pipeline, I think that's what it is.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm not really feeling it, so I'm going to continue to figure out the why. I'm going to figure out the why, or help them figure out the why. That's kind of how I got into the mental health field. Worked at Department of Mental Health. You guys already know there's always quantity over quality. How many kids you can see, how much productivity you can get. And I'm like, definitely not feeling that. I did 3 years, and during those 3 years, I started to build my own private practice. And I've been in private practice since 2020, full-time since 2022.
And you said you started is your practice mostly built around grief?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So I didn't initially start the practice around grief. Because I was known in the community for my work with the
DJJ.
youth. It kind of started that way. Everybody was kind of calling like, can you see my kid? Or some of the kids that I was seeing, because I worked because y'all know I said I like bad kids. I worked at the alternative school, and some of the kids wanted to transfer to see me, the parents as well. Got some of the parents as clients and things like that. So it didn't start that way. Mm-hmm.
And then you picked up the grief part along the way, and you started a nonprofit called What was it called?
The Mending Hearts Initiative.
And they go out into the churches. They go out and they educate based on grief. Okay.
Yeah. So we do the grief education in churches. We make referrals. We also hold the grief support group. We also we just had our third Mending Mothers Luncheon where we host mothers who have lost children free of charge. We host them. We give them lunch. We allow a mother to speak. Or it's kind of like a big grief group for mothers. And we just pour into them. We raffle off things. We do giveaways. We just try to make them feel seen in times in a time where they don't often feel seen past the funeral. They have to continue to live with the deep pain after the loss of a child again suddenly. And some women come, some mothers come. They're older women who have lost children before their time. So again, we just hosted our third one. It was very, very, very enlightening. Very, I don't know. This year was different. It was really different, but it was really powerful.
I heard about the one this year because we were supposed to. I think you had set up a table at a spot that I was at, and you were hosting that breakfast or brunch at the same time.
Yes.
So I heard about it, and I saw some of the pictures of it. It looked like it was a very successful event.
It was. It really was.
So it's held every year around the same time?
Yes.
What time is that?
So I guess I gotta give you background on that. So the friend that I was talking about earlier, shout out to Lakeisha Benson, AE. She lost her son, and she said, I really want to do something for mothers who have experienced the same pain that I have. And she said, I did not know that there was a bereaved Mother's Day. Well, what is bereaved Mother's Day? She's like, yeah, I literally just found out. The first Sunday of every May is set aside to recognize mothers who've lost children.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, and she told me like 2 weeks before, maybe 2 or 3 weeks before. I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's do something. And in those 2 or 3 weeks, I got boots on the ground, started asking for donations. We got to get this going, and we've kind of just been doing it ever since. And shout out to my community supporters as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
So y'all do it just that week at some point during that weekend.
Yeah, so we try to do it every Saturday.
Okay.
That Saturday.
The Saturday before.
Mm-hmm.
So that first Saturday in May typically. All right. What have you learned in your journey in doing grief and all of that? What have you learned? I don't know, maybe something new or something that everybody should know when it comes down to grief that'll be like helpful, or just put this in your back pocket because you got to know this when it comes down to grief.
So grief is not linear, right? It does not. It comes in waves. It'll hit you like a ton of bricks when you least expect it. And to assume that you're going to go from, what is it? What is the 5-7 steps to grief or whatever it's called? What is it called?
Don't get me lying. I know what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
5 stages of grief. 5 stages
the
of
5
grief.
stages of grief. To think that you're going to go from the first stage to the last stage, that is unrealistic. And I find that some people who aren't really well versed or educated or even self-aware, they feel like they should be further along in their grief journey because of those 5 stages that lady came up with that had absolutely nothing to do with grief, but whatever. They get frustrated with themselves and put themselves in a darker place because they feel that they should be further. But grief is a journey, and you're gonna grieve, especially a significant loss, probably for the rest of your life. It just looks different. It just looks different. One year you may, be crying and falling apart. The next year you may just have moments, but then that next year may be harder. or that next month may be a little harder. But then the next month you feel like you're gonna make it. But then you get sad again. Like, it's not something that you have to, it's not a race. It's not a race. You don't have to, feel like you should stop crying because you lost someone, and it's been 5 years. Yeah. No, that's a piece, a part of you that you'll never be able to replace, and it's literally okay. It's fine.
And the 5 stages of grief, I just pulled it up, is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. When I was in school, I learned it. They didn't necessarily say it was linear. They didn't say, oh, you go to this stage first, you go to the next stage. But it was taught like that, right? Yeah. And then after being taught like that, later on, you started seeing them say, well, it's not linear. And you can be in any stage. But by that time, people were kind of looking at it like denial first and then anger next and bargaining, depression, and acceptance. And the person that you were referencing was Dr. I think you say her name, Kubler-Ross. She's the one, the psychiatrist that came up and developed it. And we'll try to put that in the show notes. But it's bigger than these 5 stages. But typically, going back to, in our previous episode when we talked about AI, right? That's going to be one of the things that's probably going to come up. If you asking GPT something about grief, they probably going to mention the 5 stages of grief. Or if you're asking a question, it may refer you to one of those stages and say, hey, this, and this. That's where it's beneficial to know how to challenge ChatGPT, or it's beneficial to know who to reach out to, or just go to a support group. I haven't seen a bunch of support groups. I know about yours. Do you think you're probably the only one in this area, in Anderson at least, that has a flat out support group for grief?
So yes, there are hospices. They usually have grief support groups. But the biggest issue, and they have their churches, I think they do grief share. The biggest issue with that, though, is a lot of times it's not relatable, and it's not there's not spaces for people who are in our generation, like the millennials, or people that look like, it's just not relatable. It's not culturally competent either, right? And a lot of those grief groups do kind of lean toward the stages of grief, instead of just giving people the space to just share, process, and just kind of just feel. Just not culturally inclusive, culturally aware, culturally immersive,
we all come
or
from
responsible.
We all come from different backgrounds. You said earlier, read the room. When you doing these support groups, you got to know it can be different people come in there. Don't just have it so generic. You got to talk to the people that's in the room. And this could be for anybody. We kind of put you on the spot, Ms. Pender, but would y'all say, I don't know how to phrase this. Is it more beneficial to do a support group versus individual therapy? It's the same. I don't know how I really want to phrase that. I don't know how I want to phrase it. How I want to phrase it, Terance?
I don't know how you want to phrase it, but I know what you're saying. But I think both are necessary, to be honest, because a group helps you connect with other people. And like I said on other episodes, we as people value connection. So it allows you to connect with other people who may understand you, because another thing that we as people want is to feel seen, heard, and understood, and a group allows you to a group should allow you to feel those things. But then there's things in individual therapy that you may need to work on and process through that might not be appropriate for a group setting. So I think both can help an individual if done together, but I'm not saying you have to do it together, because you can go to a grief group or any type of group and receive some type of support skills, and that helps you get through what you need to get through at that time. Or you say, hey, maybe this helps me with this area, but I need individual therapy to help me in this area, so you can use it collectively now instead of just individual services.
I agree with Terance. I think the individual piece allow you to say the quiet part out loud. But the support piece allows you to be able to connect with people who you feel truly understand what you're going through. When you feel like you can't connect to someone, because as Ms. Pender was talking, I can personally relate to that I'd been in a moment where I felt like I had nobody who understood me. And I couldn't, when you mentioned bringing it to the church, and I was going to be very sensitive when I say this, it was always like, well, pray about it, but don't say it out loud. But we don't keep praying about it, but don't say it out loud. So when you mentioned bringing in that space where you can actually talk to people and they really understand you, to me, it likes you 10 times better and puts you in a different space.
And the reason I was kind of bringing that about the group versus the individual, I have a mentor. One of my mentors, his name is Jim Bitter. And I've said this time and time again, like the basis of the thing that I connect with, and I know people talk about Western civilization and all this, that, and the third, but the thing that I connect with is Adlerian therapy, which is Alfred Adler. And so Jim Bitter is an Adlerian therapist, but in Adlerian principles, they talk about connections and community and building community and feeling a sense of belonging. And so that particular mentor challenged me. It was like, why don't we as therapists focus on group therapy as much as we focus on individual therapy? Why are we so focused on that when people, to both of y'all points, you and Terrance's points, people can learn from one another? Not only just a sense of belonging, and not only identifying with other people, but learning from other people. And then you as a therapist just there to facilitate. You just there to lead, or just to put a thought in the atmosphere. So that's where that was coming from when I was asking about the group therapy versus individual. But just a random thought. Anything, Tinisha, you wanted that you would, when I reached out to you and asked you about it, was this your first podcast, or you been on one before? Don't tell me I'm the second.
No, you are my first podcast. I've been on my colleague and friend, shout out to Chantel Cox. She's also the co-founder of the Men and Hearts Initiative. We've been on radio.
Okay.
We still have radio.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we still have radio.
So we've been on a Christian radio station, talking about grief. But this is my first
with
podcast.
Mr. Robinson. Is it Bill Robinson?
No.
Okay. I don't know.
It's in Anderson.
Okay.
105 point.
Yeah, I don't think I heard it. Okay.
Yes.
I don't think I heard it.
Anderson.
But when I reached out to you and I gave you the topic, what were you thinking? Like, all right, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to say this. Was there any thoughts that came to your mind? Like, I need to get people to know this about grief?
Not necessarily. I just really want people to know that grief is normal. It's normal. It doesn't mean like you're weak. It doesn't mean that you are. It's okay to be vulnerable because of the experience. It's okay. But if your supporter can't be the space of vulnerability, and again try to fix it, then maybe it's time to seek other support, like therapy, like grief support groups. But grief is literally okay. Like on a, from a Christian standpoint, like you were saying, pray. We've been taught to pray about it. Take it to the Lord in prayer. He'll fix it. But there's so many stories and so many things in the Bible that suggest that we should seek counsel when things go hard, and suggest that these emotions are normal, that grief is normal, that depression is a possibility, but it also speaks to the ability to heal if you want to, and it is a choice. Healing is a choice, and I guess that's the most important thing. That strong emotions are normal. Grief is normal. You're not crazy. You're not weak. But healing is a choice. You just have to choose it and not stay stuck.
And seek the right counsel.
Yes.
Seek
the right counsel.
Everybody ain't qualified to counsel. And I ain't talking about us, whether licensed or not licensed. I'm not talking about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I'm not saying nothing about her. I'm just saying, just seek the right counsel in general, because you mentioned the Bible saying seeking counseling is fine. Wise counsel, right? You can't. Everybody ain't fit to play that role. Like every friend ain't the fun friend. Every friend ain't the friend that you can go to, and talk to. I guess I want to close with this, because I've had deaths in the past, and this year in particular has been a lot. As a person that's not a therapist, how can they be supportive? How can they be present for a individual that is going through? I think from a standpoint, maybe I should say just a person in general, not just like, if it's anybody here, I'm gonna be there for them because I will have a relationship with them, built for that, more or less. But if it's somebody maybe at my church, if it's somebody like, I actually had, I don't know if I told everybody, you know this, I had somebody that worked with me that just passed this year.
Wow.
It was an intern. She passed this year.
Sorry,
I knew her obviously, but I didn't know her family like that. So in that instance, how do you be supportive to the family? How do you be supportive to the people that know her? Even how would I be supportive for her past clients, with her not being here anymore?
I would say just ask them, how can I show up for you? Don't assume, just ask. And sometimes they won't know what to say, and sometimes they'll say, we don't need anything. Just be present. Don't force anything. Don't assume anything. Just show up. And I think that speaks more volumes. That speaks to your character, your means of support. That speaks more to that than anything, than any card with money, than any church's chicken box. That speaks just being there and being there after, right?
Yeah.
You have these services, you have the funeral services, and after all is said and done, they're still left to sit with their grief, and everybody else is gone. The chicken's gone, the money's gone. Some they get pizza too now. They get
Nah.
I've seen Little Caesars pizzas at these.
They falling off then.
Yeah.
They falling off.
I've seen pizzas. It's crazy.
If you bringing pizza, and I'm aware that you bringing pizza, I'm calling you out. I don't know. I don't care if it's for me or people I know. I'm calling you out. If you know me, don't let me see you bring no pizza.
Oh Lord.
I've seen pizza.
And y'all still got Church's
Already.
Chicken in Anderson?
No, we have Popeyes.
Okay.
Or Walmart chicken. Don't like that. The chicken's gonna go. Like,
Yeah.
and chicken's leaving. It's what they need after all that is died out. Where after the noise is over, the services are gone. How can you be there afterwards? Just show up.
When you said that about being there after you're gone, I remember, and this has been over 20 years now. My dad died March 4th, 2000. So this is year 26. But to this day, I remember vividly, people showed up, they showed out. He passed on a Saturday. People were at the house Sunday, all the way through the funeral, which I think the funeral was on a Wednesday. I could be wrong. But whenever the funeral was, people was there. Then we had the funeral. People was there, and I remember getting in that car and riding home, and you open up the door, and it was just like it just hit me. Loneliness hit me. Now, mind you, it's four of us. It's 4 kids. So I had 3 siblings and a mom, but there was nobody else there, and it was just I opened up the door, and I just felt loneliness as soon as I hit that door, because the individual that had built that house with us was no longer there, and it's just us. And even all of us went into our separate rooms, our separate spaces, and that was not a great feeling. But I think maybe a day or two later, then I got back into the community and felt the love from my friends, mostly my friends at that time, who were there for me. So I definitely understand what you're saying. But anyway, Terance.
Yo.
You think we done beat this up enough? That did not sound right.
I ain't answering no more questions for you right now. what kind of question you asking me right now?
That came out horribly.
Well, I would say that Ms. Pender definitely gave us a lot today. Like you said, healing is a choice, and just taking a moment just to say, how can I support you? I think that really stands out, because that's the one thing that people don't know how to do is ask the why or how. So I don't think we beat it up. I think that we just really allowed people to understand the value of vulnerability, and just being vocal about what they need.
Yeah.
And telling others how to be there.
Yeah, I do like that question. Ask before you assume. Because you may think somebody needs church's chicken, but they want that Little Caesar's pizza. You'll never know unless you ask. Yeah. But it won't be Kervin.
Okay.
He
Kervin don't want pizza.
He want the chicken.
He want the chicken, no pizza.
I want all the cholesterol. Bring it up. All right, Ms. Pender, we're going to let you close it out. Before I close it out, how can we find you? How can we connect with you? What projects you got coming up? We pre-record, so this will come out in July. What you got going on? Because you always got something going on. From a distance, I see you always got something going on.
So right now, I don't have anything that I can think of going on. We will be on the Clemson campus Juneteenth, June 19th. Just spreading the word, spreading awareness about mental health, grief support. We will also be the next day at Welfare Baptist Church at an event, again, doing for Juneteenth, spreading awareness. And what else do we have coming up? And this is for Mending Hearts Initiative, again, with my girl, Chantel Cox. Shout out to her. But you can find me www.mendingheartstcs.com. If you need a therapist, I am actively accepting new clients. Just reach out to me through the website. I'm also on Psychology Today, Tinisha Pender. For Mending Hearts, you can reach us or just see what we have going on www.mendingheartssc.org. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for taking the time to join us and be with us on today, or whenever you listening. We're on all the major podcast platforms. We're on YouTube, which is primarily where we have most of our content, which is on YouTube. But thank y'all for being a part of us. Thank Mr. Winston for his input on the production. Man, he does it all. Photography,
he does it all, man.
Video, editing, audio, the intro music.
Yeah.
All of that. He does all of that. So we appreciate him. He's a one-stop shop. So if you need somebody to set you up, to get you started with your podcast, or if you need photography, wedding photos, family photos, holla at Winston. We'll put
Winston.
his information in the show notes too. I got some beautiful family photos that he was able to do for us. And it's about time for him to do some more. So, but anyway, shout out to Winston. Thank y'all again for coming in and tuning in. Check us out, follow us, subscribe, hit like, all that good stuff. Share us wherever you at. And just remember, everything affects everything. This is therapy. I mean, we are therapists, but this isn't therapy. It's just a podcast.
That's right.